Hello everyone, and good Saturday afternoon. Right now, raining right outside the house. I don't know whether it's raining at your side, but it's a sunny, hot, humid day. Hope the rain cools out a little. And thank you for joining us again. Once again, episode 3 of the Happy Money series. And once again, we have here with us the founders of PolicyWoke, Jimmy and Ethan. Round of applause for them.
Hey, hi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. Jimmy, you something to say?
No, nothing. Thanks, Yantai, for having us.
Okay, my pleasure. So today we are going to talk about a topic that is very close to our hearts because all of us here, we are in our 30s and we are going through a certain phase and period of our life. Yeah. So maybe Jimmy, you want to start? How do you feel about being in your 30s?
How in my 30s? Okay.
How do you feel about being in your 30s?
Okay, I would say that for me, as compared to when I was younger, right? Well, I've been watching my own health more how to say more self-aware compared to last time when I was in my 20s. So what triggered me to that is in the past when I used to work as a full-time software developer and then become a software specialist, there are times whereby I have to work longer than usual working hours for many days. To the point where I saw myself gaining weight, and at the same time, because I'm born with a minor medical condition such that my joints are kind of weak. So as I put on weight, it somehow affected my knees a little bit. Yeah. So at that point, right, it got me thinking that it's time to wake up and think of how to regain back my health to my current state today. Yeah. So today, ever since I did I took a leap of faith and do a career switch to current entrepreneurship time. I have more control over my time in like when I work on my own business and when I need to have time out and do exercise and eat well and sleep well and things like that. So that got me into a better shape and better health today. Yeah. So I feel that in sum up, when it comes to your 30s, or even earlier, you must start to be self-aware about your own health, take care of your health, and take steps to minimize the result of having major illnesses or things like that. Yeah, so that's my current thing. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you for sharing. How about you, Ethan?
Okay, for me it's more about I have to work very long hours. So that was in my early 20s because I joined a property maintenance company. So a lot of the stuff, right, let's say for the power, water, if there's any major breakdown, I'm the first one to be activated. Yeah, so during my work, especially within the past, let's say 7 years, so I'm activated at least 5 to 7 times for major items. Yeah, so my weekends are burned because of that.
Okay, how do you feel when you're going through that tough period?
Okay, I felt that it was actually like it's part of work. So there's actually not really a sort of work-life balance in that case, because when you sign up for the job, you're expected to perform. That's the expectation. Yeah, so for the kind of work that I'm doing, it's like 24/7 on standby. Yeah. But
which industry are you in?
Property maintenance.
Property maintenance. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So anything that breakdowns become my problem first. Even if I cannot solve it, right, I still must go down and show face.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So to
Do
say
you
that
have a very demanding boss?
I wouldn't say it's demanding, but it's expected. I would say in the industry, it's expected that you must be there to do something about it. So if you don't do anything about it, then yeah, you are considered not doing your job already. Yeah. So after working for 4 years, I felt okay. I need to find a way out of this industry because I studied this industry. I went into the job, so I really have to find a way to get out of it. Yeah, it's either you're assigned to the job or you find a way out. That's the only way.
So you took the leap of faith.
That's the only way.
Same.
I think that's the only way. So I actually explored training and development. I explored doing administration for a cleaning company. So I helped set up their approved training organization. Yeah, so I was doing part of sort of business in this sense. So I exposed to a wide range of business functions like logistics. So I actually double up as a driver. I plan for the logistics. I bring things over. Then I set up the ATO, like I said earlier on. That I applied for all the grants available to help increase the productivity of the company. So from there, I actually got a lot of ideas that actually you do not necessarily need to be an employee. And I'm also inspired by the book. Okay, Robert Kiyosaki wrote that the 4 quadrants.
Which that for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where I start to see that okay, I can find a way out. So even if you are taking a leap of faith, it's not a blind leap of faith, but with something that we didn't know it's there. It's just that you need to find it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay, so audience, if you have just joined us this afternoon, thank you for your time. And if you are between the age of 30 to 40, just type the yes in the comment box. And we just like to know that you are also walking a pretty similar journey and you are in a pretty similar stage of life as the 3 of us over here. So I identify with both Jimmy and Ethan. My long story short, I was also working as a pharmacist, a retail pharmacist, retail line. So being in a retail line, you work retail hours. I used to work in the airport when I first started out as a pharmacist. So basically, I was working 4 days a week, but long hours, 10 or 12 hours, and I was working up to 12 midnight. Yeah, so crazy hours, no life, no family life. Yeah, I got married towards the end of my pharmaceutical career, and I decided to take a leap of faith as well, because I figured if I stay on long term in the retail line, it's all retail hours, so it's quite disruptive to family life. Yeah. Like I think Ethan will agree because you used to work in a job that demands of you 24/7 to be to be on call or to be reachable or to attend to certain problems that crop out along the way. Yeah. So I also take the leap of faith and then I jumped. Okay, so our first question for today is work-life balance. A lot of people talk about work-life balance, having good balance being a tool. But is it a myth? Or what you guys actually think? Jimmy,
okay, so for me, last time when I used to work in a full-time job, I believe in trying to achieve work-life balance. Yeah, in the beginning of my engineering career. Yeah, but as years goes by, I find that this so-called work-life balance is difficult to achieve. Yeah, so it's difficult to balance between the required, commitments in the work and the commitments outside of my work, such as my family time and things like that. Yeah, so I find that this balance is difficult to achieve. And then once I, took a leap of faith and transit into entrepreneurship, right? I would say it's more of what you call a work-life integration rather than work-life balance. Why integration? Is because basically, okay, for me, I try to live my life to the fullest. So when it comes to work matters, especially at PolicyWoke, I try to stay calm and ensure that every business matters is in place. My interests with the other directors are aligned, right? And then at the same time, when I go out and meet people, the people who I talk with is comfortable in communication and things like that. And then sometimes I go out and meet friends also. So, being in flexible work hours in that sense, so lovely to think that, hey, it's probably more doable in having, work-life integration rather than having a balance. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. So as long as one can integrate well between the work and life, yeah, I think I'm pretty happy. Yeah.
So Jimmy, do you actually schedule or compartmentalize your hours or your days? Do you actually like, oh, this period of time I set aside for this and this period of time, or you just flow, you just go along the flow? How do you actually?
It depends. Like whenever I meet someone who wants to, set a time for meetings and things like that, I have to set a time in the calendar, right?
Yep.
And then set already. And then whenever there's no meetings within a certain time, then it's time to think about, what are the things that I need to do. I mean, such as, family time, my own time, and things like that. So it's really good with the flow. I try to be as flexible as possible. Yeah.
Okay, so, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, especially being an entrepreneur, right? When you and other directors are your own boss, I think it's important to be flexible in terms of work arrangement, so that you have your own power to set, when it's time to meet or when it's time to do whatever that you need to do in life. Yeah. So
agree.
So that's what I think. Ethan?
Okay, basically for me, I would say that I do agree a lot with Jimmy. If I were to summarize it, right, it's more of instead of your life being planned by the job, as an entrepreneur, you plan your job around your life.
What do you mean by that? How you plan your job around your life?
Okay, so for certain things, especially like family time, those are already fixed already, right? Alright, so when you are an entrepreneur, because you already know that your family time and all that is already fixed already.
Yeah.
So you definitely you will block off those dates for meeting or whatever things that you need to do. Yes. Then if things are urgent, right, it's okay for me to just let Jimmy or David to handle the things if I really cannot make it. So it is a lot more control in this sense, because if they cannot do it, then I'll do it. So it's more of a give and take relationship rather than I'm fixed in this schedule. My job requires me to stand by 24/7 now, no longer needed. I just need to make time for it. Let's say within these 2 days. So it's a lot more flexible in my opinion already. Yeah. So if you can do that, then and all the job, right, is up to how you prioritize really. So those things that is very urgent, that is very required to be done, you just prioritize that first. The rest that can shift a bit, you just shift maybe 1 or 2 days later. It's not like in your job, right? Your boss tell you must do. It's very different. Yeah.
True. And, okay, so for people who have just come in, join us. Thank you for your time. The first question we're tackling is work-life balance a myth? So is it a myth? Just put in the comment box, yes or no. And Ethan has just shared how he planned his life or work around the life. Sorry, work around the life. Work around your life. Yeah, and I think that's a very useful and important tip. So I just want to ask, right, what are the top 3 priorities in terms of planning, whether it's work or life? How do you prioritize the top 3? Jimmy?
For me, it's always family first.
Okay.
Because, I mean, nothing replaces my family time. Yeah, and then after that, then is my commitments towards my work, especially at PolicyWoke, because the business direction is something which I'm excited to be part of the team, and it is something that benefits the society in general. Yeah, so that drives me to work towards the continuous success in the business. Yeah, and of course my friends around me. So I wish that all my family and friends are healthy and they live life to the fullest. Yeah. So yeah, that's all the priorities I have. Yeah.
Right. Ethan, yourself, how do you prioritize?
Okay, for me, right, I always prioritize my family first now. So if there's any urgent, maybe my kid needs to go to the doctor, then I can go with my kid already. So it's no longer like, okay, I need to plan my leave around that. And sometimes your leave may also get disturbed because of work commitment. So now I don't have this issue anymore. Yeah, so that's my first priority. My second priority is definitely on the business, because that is also the bread and butter for this, and it's really something that I thought of very long. I planned for it really very long, and I even set aside 1 year just to discover like exactly how the business model and how we are going to grow the company, what are the possible directions. So I put in so much effort for 1 year already while looking for what I can do. So yeah. So that's why I feel that the business will be the second already, because it's also like Jimmy said, it serves a very big purpose in society.
Agree. Okay, so I just flash quickly. Hannah, thanks for joining us. Amazing how you plan your work around your life. So you set a strong foundation in order for you to do that. More of those that just step out, just taken on this journey. What would your advice be? Right, who wants to answer Hannah's query?
Ethan may be a better person for us.
Okay, basically it's more about understanding what are the non-negotiable things that you cannot negotiate. It's like time with family. Those that you really set aside a time, right? Just make sure that you can go for it. Don't let work take over it. That's one. And number two, you need to be very clear of what you want to achieve. Because if you are not clear of what you want to achieve, right, you may spend, like me, I spent 1 year just to understand the whole business model and everything. So to me, it's also like exploration. So if you just started, right, you really need at least 2 to 3 years of emergency fund, expecting zero revenue or zero income. So you really need to plan a lot ahead. If you just started. And the third thing is, just being clear is not enough. You also need to set clear goals for yourself and move towards it. So planning but never executing also defeats the whole purpose. So you must follow through whatever you tell yourself. So you really need to have a very strong inner understanding of yourself, so that you will not feel conflicted like, hey, actually I set this time for my family, then my work tells me I need it. So as an entrepreneur, you should understand that your work can be rescheduled, can be renegotiated. you do not necessarily need to be at that time, at that place demanded by someone else. So you must know how to balance or the very minimum to know how to push. Push backwards is fine to push as long as it's justified.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't use that as an excuse for you to be lazy, but use it as a way to motivate yourself. So it's a very clear line. It's a very thin line between being clear and using it as an excuse.
Exactly. Agree. I like your point about that having 2 to 3 years of emergency fund. I think that is very important because a lot of people, I think we have covered in our first or second episode, we talk about entrepreneurship, but a lot of people don't actually realize how much it really take to get something started. Yeah, so you really need to plan ahead. You need like 2 or 3 years of emergency fund, and preferably carrying minimal or zero debt. Yeah, for me, when I first started on my entrepreneurship journey as well, the first 1.5 years are zero income also. So previously, for earning about 6,000 as a manager, pharmacy manager, I become zero. So literally zero. But I was fortunate mainly because first of all I don't have debt, and second of all I have full of saving. 2 years, 3 years, yes, you need that amount of savings to tide you over if you want to get started on entrepreneurship. So it's really about planning. And now I hope I've answered your question. Yeah, feel free to ask any more questions if you have any more. Yeah. So anything else to add on this work-life balance? How can we really have a work-life balance? Jimmy, anything else to add?
No, I think that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Ethan, yourself? Okay. So we'll go to the
My point would be related to the second one, so I think we move on.
Yeah. So how can I save up sufficiently for retirement? Because the context for this question is people in their 30s. We need to be looking towards to get started. If we haven't, if we have, that's very good. If we have already started planning towards retirement, that will be very good. But if we have not started planning towards retirement, if we are already in your 30s, right, this is really the time we need to start planning on retirement. Just a curious indication for those people who are with us right now. Have you already started planning for your retirement? So if you have started planning for your retirement, type in yes in the comments below. If not, just no, it's all right. Yeah, I just want to have a quick feel how many of you have already started planning for your retirement. And if you are already retired, congratulations. Yeah, just type in the comment box. Okay, so to kick off, Jimmy, how can we save up sufficiently for retirement, and how do we define sufficient?
Well, for me, okay, maybe because I'm someone who is not a big spender. I try my best to only spend on things that are necessary, such as food, groceries, and necessary stuff. Yeah. So whatever money that's left up to save up, right? Of course, some of them will be set aside for emergency fund, and then the rest will be used to for wealth accumulation purpose in the form of investments. Yeah. So you must have all these kind of allocations, some for the necessary stuff, some for emergency fund, some for wealth accumulation. So this wealth accumulation part is to allow you to accumulate more cash out of your whatever income that you earn, right? So that if you accumulate wealth in a long term, let's say 20 years to 30 years, right? So 20 to 30 years later, if your accumulation has been in order, right, and with the right numbers, right, after 20, 30 years, with the right targets, you will be able to have been retirement stage, whereby you can start using the accumulated funds for your retirement needs.
Yeah.
So, but I understand that some of you maybe in what you call a sandwich generation, whereby while as a working adult, you need to set aside funds for your child, and also set aside funds to support your parents and things like that. So this is also where how you allocate your earned income is important. You need to have a sort of a balancing act, to balance out such that everyone benefits from whatever allocation you have set, so that if both your child and your parents have benefits, while at the same time you have planned for your own retirement in the long term.
Yes.
So that's my thing. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Okay, we just got to skip back a bit because there's one more question Anna has actually asked on the previous topic. So Anna asks, will you say that you have a work-life balance in the beginning of your journey as an entrepreneur? Ethan, do you have a work-life balance? Or do you have work-life integration?
I would say that it's more of a work-life integration because you are always constantly looking to improve the business at the start, because it's still very unstable. You don't know what's your revenue, how are you going to get all your sustenance. So that can be part of the although it's at the back of mind because you have like 2 to 3 years of income. But when it comes to a point where you're nearing that 2 years, right, your plan should be working. Because when you give yourself time, it's always about one year to do what you need, and the second year is just to adjust to ensure that it's very profitable. So I would say that at the start, it's more of knowing what to prioritize. So it's integration rather than a balance. But towards the end, when your company is already well, or you already set up enough system processes, right, then it can start to be balanced.
Yeah, correct. Agree. My experience is also similar to Ethan. So for the first 1 year, you're kind of figuring things out and doing iteration. So I definitely spend a bit more time on the business as compared to the family. But yet, I still purposely and intentionally set aside time to spend with my family. Yeah. So that is the key. Really to integrate from the first year. Definitely for a start, you definitely be spending more time and energy on getting this business up and going. And then after that, for second and third year, it's really about tweaking here and there, make sure that the revenue stream is consistent and growing. Yeah. So then that is how you actually get it up and running. Yeah. Thanks, Hannah. That was a very good question. So now, thank you. Oh, I just well said, well shared, and that's for me. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Okay, now we are back to second part. How can I save up sufficiently for retirement? So Ethan, what is your take on this? How do we define sufficient for retirement, and how do you save up sufficiently for your retirement?
I think it's a lot about knowing what you really want in retirement. So like I think the most famous one, you want three meals in a restaurant or 3 meals in a coffee shop. Yeah. So okay. Although it's very negative, but if you look at it in a positive aspect, right? You really need to decide what you want. Then you will know what is sufficient.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you just really three meals at the coffee shop, then I think $10, yeah, it can be sufficient. But if you really want like a very good meal, you want to go holiday every month, I think even 2,000 may not be enough. Yeah. So okay, for me, because as an entrepreneur, I have tasted before employment, and now self-employed business, right? So you feel that actually whatever has been set for CPF, right, is actually a very good forced saving.
Yeah.
So you should use the same concept, but instead of putting it into CPF and self-employed, right, you can put it into any other instruments that you feel that is automated. So you do not have to think about it. It's the same as a CPF concept. Yeah. So that can actually ensure that you, even if you do not hit whatever you want, right, you will be near that.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Correct.
Especially in this climate, when you look at those age 40 and 50s are getting retrenchment, being unable to find a job now because of the changing economy, changing expectations of the employers, then you feel that having one stream of income is no longer secure already. Really.
Correct. One stream is no longer secure. Exactly. Totally agree with that.
So
actually, when you mentioned, right, Ethan, you mentioned Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. My takeaway from that book, the 4 quadrants, is really about how you need to build different streams of income. So you can bounce around in the 4 quadrant, but ultimately we are moving towards the I quadrant because that's the most sustainable long term. But when you first start, some people may start with the E quadrant, with the S quadrant, with the B quadrant. So you can bounce around. But one of my key takeaways, you cannot have only one income stream. Yeah, I was doing coaching the other day, one of my coachee, and then she's having a contract job at the moment, but she wants to transit fully to become an options trader. So I told her, okay, you can that is what you are passionate about, want to do option trading. But don't forget, at the start, right, you surely cannot be, first of all, you won't have that capital to make a lot of money out of just purely trading. You definitely have to rely on a second stream of income. And then I told her, second thing is, you look at this COVID-19, those people who have only one main source of income, and if the industry happen to be hit by the COVID-19, then they are basically quite screwed. Yeah, they are basically quite screwed because they are stuck. Their mainstream of income is chopped off. Yeah, so in this economy and this situation environment, we cannot only rely on one main source of income. Yeah, you need to have multiple streams of income so that you diversify and then you spread your risk. Don't put all your eggs into one basket.
So that's why I wanted to actually elaborate on it, because if you want to save up sufficiently for retirement, if having multiple streams, right, at least when one stream stops, you can still continue to contribute to your retirement, and not because of that incident you stop contributing to your retirement, then you will definitely fall a lot behind already because of that stoppage. Yeah, even a 1 year, right, can make a whole lot of difference in the retirement plan.
Okay, Hannah has some interesting comments. Let me just put out. So she had a question, right? How do you share a concept of retirement with millennials? Jimmy, you want to attempt to give her an answer?
Share this concept of retirement to millennials.
Have you tried sharing before? Or Ethan, have you tried sharing, either of you?
Maybe I can start first.
Yes.
Okay. When you talk about retirement, you don't know about retirement. Because what are the things that all these people are more interested in? It can be the latest gadget, it can be the fastest car, I don't know, the latest handphone. So it really depends on what you're looking at. So use that and project it to your future. Do you still want to continue owning such things? So think of that as your retirement. As your retirement plan. What a retirement plan is, I want to consistently be able to change car every 3 years. Think of it as a new type of retirement, early retirement. So that it forms a bit of motivation. It's not, when you talk about retirement, it's like, hey, I'm waiting to die only.
Actually, you're not waiting to die. Retirement to me is just coming to a stage whereby you are not having you are not obliged to generate your own income because you already have sufficient income to sustain your lifestyle. That's my definition of retirement. Okay, very good. I think Anna has one more interesting comment over here as well. So she read Kiyosaki, fake money, fake assets. Okay. Well, Kiyosaki has his detractors lah, but we don't just focus on the negative. We take what we can get out of it. Because it's undeniable that the concepts he teaches, it's a framework, and it's a useful framework if you know how to use it properly. Yeah. Jimmy, you got something to say?
Okay. So back to the previous questions about how to speak with millennials about retirement. Okay. So maybe you want to talk about wealth accumulation. So let's say, just like Ethan mentioned about buying the latest gadget, let's say for example, smartphone, right? So you can give an example of, let's say if a millennial needs to buy a new smartphone for his or her own use, all right? If you choose between $900 smartphone versus a $300 smartphone, okay? Let's say in terms of features, even the $300 smartphone, it serves all the features that the millennial needs for her day-to-day use, right? You can explain to them that, from that decision point in time, if you choose to buy a $300 smartphone, that $600 that you save can be used to help in your wealth accumulation, right? And that $600 could make a big difference in the long run in terms of the compounding effect in wealth accumulation. Yeah. So I guess that's one way of how you can explain about retirements to millennials. About that $600 difference. Yeah, in your decision. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way I think about it.
Long way. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy, for sharing. Yeah. So how do you guys, other than like the lifestyle, would you consider? I think there was a sidetrack. I think that there was this article I saw on the CD forum talk about oversaving. So do you feel that you're oversave?
Okay, maybe I start.
Yeah, sure.
If I get the topic correctly, oversaving sounds like putting all cash in a savings account that earns 0.1% interest every year. As in put everything inside that earns low interest. But if you do that, you're actually losing money in real terms, in terms of inflation.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not wrong, in Singapore, inflation rate is about 3% per annum. So it will sort of oversave in the sense that you put all your money in a savings account that earns 0.1% interest.
Yeah.
Then in real rates, you are losing 2.9%.
Correct.
So in that sense, oversaving is not good in the long run. Yeah. Alright, that's what I think. Ethan, you have to say?
Okay, for me, oversaving is more about not taking care of yourself. Really. You can save, but you must take care of yourself. Don't save to the point of eat Maggi mee every meal, eat soft bread every meal, drink plain water. The clothes you buy, you wait until it already spoil and cannot wear already, then you change. That to me is oversaving. Because you had the resources, you could have make it better, make it more comfortable. Not just comfortable, it's also related to your health. So if it adversely affect your health already, that is, to me, is oversaving. Especially when you have the resources already. So you should use enough so that your health does not suffer from it. So that's the state of oversaving. So if it affects you, especially your health, is over saving. If not, it's not considered over saving. You can save 100% of your income. If someone else is paying for you and your health does not suffer, it's not over saving.
Good point. Good point. Thanks, Ethan. Thank you. Okay, finally we go to the last question of the day that we tackle. So family planning. So Jimmy is still single and available.
Yes.
Ethan and myself, we are settled down already. So maybe from Jimmy, you want to share from your perspective, how will you start to plan next time if you want to settle down and get married? How do you start? I'll assume you have already started planning.
Okay, so let's say if I'm planning to settle down in the future.
Yes.
So I personally believe in insurance protection.
Yep.
So I'll make sure that in terms of the family, there is a proper insurance coverage in place. So after the coverage is done already, then it comes to the savings, having emergency funds for the family.
Yes.
Right. After that is done already, then make sure all the required expenses is covered for family. Then after expenses covered, then it comes to the wealth accumulation phase. So to accumulate wealth for the family, right? And then after all that is done, then work towards retirement for the whole family. So it comes in steps. So you must first have insurance first, and then of course at the same time make sure you have emergency funds in place in case of emergency use for the family, right? And then comes the expenses coverage, wealth accumulation, and then ultimately retirement. So that's my personal take.
Ethan, how about yourself?
Okay, I think my blind spot in family planning comes in two aspects. One is emotional aspect, which means never take care of other people's feelings, never take care of your own feelings.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing the pursuit of career, pursuit of money, inevitably you may just because you want to justify that money is very important. Which is true. Money is important, but it should not come at the expense of things that you really value. So that's my first blind spot. So not taking care of my wife's feelings about things are really it is a lot of like, well, what do I think of it rather than what can we do about it. So it's really about togetherness rather than doing like how I did for myself previously. So that's one. Then the second one is more about over planning. Yes, it's related to the first point. So you may want to give your child the best thing if you want to have a child. So you may like, okay, you start to dream that, okay, my child will go to the A class, go to top AC, whatever, top school, and you want to give him even the nursery all the way to before primary one, you want to give them the best hairstyle possible. But if you look at it, children are very simple people.
Yeah.
In that sense, it's just like they wake up, they see you, they're happy. They want to eat, they're happy. They play with you, they're happy. They sleep, they're happy. Just that only. They never think of like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. They don't have that. So I think it came a point of like over planning, so you don't have to plan so much. Go with the flow. Of course, but like what JP mentioned, the most disastrous plans put them in place, like insurance, so that it will not detract or derail your finances. But other than that,
Actually, you'd be surprised that there are still quite a lot of people who don't really believe in insurance. I myself, I actually see it as a really ingenious risk management instrument. So I think that's one of the blind spots, because I think till today, even in I'm like 36 this year, I still have friends who don't really believe in insurance for whatever reason. Yeah. And of course, if they can save, they can plan well, it's still okay. But if they are the type who don't really budget well and they are not disciplined with their finances, right, it can be very troublesome if the what if hits lah. Yeah, the what if hits. So that is one of the blind spot. And I think for myself, in my younger days, when I wasn't too disciplined in my finances, I don't really keep track of my finances. When I was still working when I was employed, I still have a job. I don't really keep track. I just make sure that there's some money coming into the bank, and I think that's one blind spot as well, because we don't really keep track of our finances. So sometimes we don't know where our money go to. Yeah, I had that problem, so I didn't know where my money go to until the point when I was like reaching the edge of the cliff. I wanted to take a leap of faith and jump out of employment really. That was when I realized, where my money go to? Yeah, that was a blind spot for me. Yeah, so those of you who are listening in, welcome. We are almost coming to the end of the show. But if you have questions for any one of us in terms of planning your finances or planning for retirement or work-life balance, feel free to drop it in the comments below. Yeah. So all of us three here are all in our 30s, and we are going through a specific phase of life whereby we are kind of like sandwich between the young 20s and the middle age, like 40s and 50s. Yeah, kind of sandwich lah. And of course, sandwich also mean that some of us have commitment, have to support our parents, the older generation, and support the younger generation children. Yeah, so some of us are going through that phase of life, which is very tricky. We are very tricky, and we are some of us who are working in a job, we are like trying to climb the career ladder. Then like all of us here, the three of us here who are self-employed, who are business owners, we are trying to build up our business, stabilize it, and then thinking of scaling it up. Yeah. So we go through a very tricky phase of life. And if you have these questions, feel free to ask us anything. Yeah. So Jimmy, any last thoughts on planning your finances for the next 3 to 5 years?
For me, okay, as what you mentioned earlier in today's session, I think in today's time and age, it's important to have 2 or more sources of income, so that in an unforeseen situation, if one of the sources is down, at least you still have another source of income to earn as an income.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess that's my take so far. Yep.
What about you, Ethan?
I think it's more about concentration. It's like Jimmy say lah.
Yep.
So don't be too concentrated on one thing.
Yes.
It's okay to diversify. If you diversify, that's because you took the wrong concept and apply it wrongly, basically. So it is very contextualized, because a lot of things that we experience, we don't know the answer really. Nobody knows the answer until you walk through it. Then you know that I made a mistake, or I did the correct thing, or I should have done the other way. It could have been better. But that's all about life. You make choices, you live with it, and you ensure that you do not suffer from it after that. Even if you suffer, as little as possible. Because nobody has all the answers now. It's all a lot of hindsight. And if you have good mentors, right, listen to them. Listen to how they tell you about things, how they say their situation, and whether it applies to you. Because a lot of things that people say outside is just generic. but whether it applies to your life or not, you need to ask yourself. Nobody had the answer, and
Right.
not even yourself sometimes.
Yeah. Agree. Fully agree. Okay, so we have come to the end of our show. So in 2 weeks' time, we have PolicyWoke again, and we'll be exploring more. Actually, this week was supposed to be investments, but never mind. In 2 weeks' time, we will explore more on investments. And Jimmy and Ethan, I are also experienced investors, and they are in fact PolicyWoke is all about providing you an alternative solution in terms of growing your wealth. Yep. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for joining us. PolicyWoke, Jimmy, Ethan, and Happy Coach Yan Tai. This is the Happy Money series, episode 3. And have a great weekend, and see you again soon. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.